Yeah. Do you want to join me or nope? Just coming on stage. Okay. Yeah, it will be the last panel before the break. A panel about initiatives and tactics to help young startups. I'm gonna call on stage Pierre-Olivier Chotard from Salesforce, Alice Zaguri from Le Camping, Thibaut Favre from All My Apps, and Amaury Debuchet from ESCP Europe. Please help me welcome them. I want to start the panel with I want to thank all these guys to having joined us. It's an interesting one because very diverse. We have different profiles there, and I hope we will give you some insight about what we can do to have more for startups, more initiatives, more tactics, and share on that. I will start with you, Alice, of course. How many of you don't know about Le Camping in Paris? Okay, perhaps guys from Israel that are here today, but except how many French guys don't know? Whoa. No, it's okay. Yeah, Alice, please, in a few words, explain us what is Le Camping. Is it? No, I won't start with a bad question. Please explain.
You wanted to start with, is it a French way combinator?
Nope.
All right. First, thank you for inviting us. We are really happy to be here. So, Le Camping basically is an accelerator program. So, designed by Silicon Sentier. It's a non-profit organization working with entrepreneurs. We did the first program in January, from January to June. It's going to last 6 months. It takes all the ingredients we've seen that would work for young startups to kick off really fast. So we gathered a bunch of very good experienced entrepreneurs who are mentors to help selected startups to grow up. We have 12 startups. They receive seed money. They have 3 months to build a prototype that have clients at the end of the 3 months. And they pitch more than 100 investors during Investor Day. The main goal is to raise funds at that time. And right now they have 3 more months to build up the community, to build up to try to interact really much more with their users, to be integrated in their ecosystem. And we have 2 teams I've seen here. So we have Binsight and Dog Trackers, 2 good campers.
All right, Amaury, you're the head of ESCP Incubator. Talk a little bit about us and perhaps explain how do you see this all, if I can say it like that, incubator in compared to new initiatives like Le Camping.
So I think it's not about my age, but probably something else. Yes, ESCP Europe is the oldest business school in the world, so I mean we have to live with that, and it's a good thing. It was started by an entrepreneur. Actually, the guy who invented the word entrepreneur is called Jean-Baptiste Say. It was started by entrepreneurs to train and educate their children. So we're happy to be the oldest ones. I mean, incubator is like a product, like any other product. It needs to be innovative, to change, to adapt to a constant changing world. We like to think of us as building things that last here at ESCP Europe. So we build entrepreneurs. So this is what we do.
And how old is these incubators? And is it dedicated to ESCP students only, or any wannabe entrepreneurs can join you?
We started with an experiment in '98 or something. Then learned about the successes and failures, and started again in 2003. And we built it as an academic incubator. Meaning it's for students. It's part of our mission as a business school. Our mission is to educate people, is to generate knowledge through research, and to contribute to society and the economy. And I guess doing it through an incubator is probably one of the best ways to do it.
All right, thank you. Thibaut, you're the startup of this panel. What is your experience with? Oh no, okay, let's start again. What is All My Apps? Just in a few words.
So All My Apps is a 2-year-old startup. What we do is we make it easy to discover and manage applications on Windows. So we're building the first Windows application store.
And what is your experience with incubators or accelerators?
So my experience is I was in engineering school. I did something called ingénieur entrepreneur, which is a way in the last year of the engineering school to educate engineers about all the entrepreneurship skills like marketing, sales, negotiation, and this has really helped me a lot in building companies. So it didn't prevent me to fail the first one, but at least it was a really good experience. I realized that I sucked at finance and that I had to improve my finance skill to be able to start my company. And it was really like, it opens your mind, and it was really important for me.
Just to end up this presentation round, Pierre-Olivier Chotard, you're the head of marketing for Salesforce South Europe, if I'm right. We will talk later about your point and your mission for startups, but explain us a little bit what is Salesforce and what is your job.
Salesforce, who knows Salesforce in the room? Yes, cool. So Salesforce is the enterprise cloud computing company. We've got about more than 92,000 customers over the world. It's a good startup story because only 10 years ago it was a 3 employees company. And now we are 5,000 and we have got lots of customers and 1.8 billion revenue per year. So it's a very good story in the Valley. What is interesting is how it was set up at the beginning with a pure idea to take some ideas from the public internet to the enterprise and to provide for customers like Dell or the French Post or Japan Post 1,000 users, for example, for our services, but also for entrepreneurs. So auto entrepreneur in France use a lot our solution, but it's so interesting to know that we've got many verticals using our solution for customer relationship management, for customer support, or for a platform to develop your application directly on our own platform, and so to start very quickly on your business.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. A question for Alice and Amaury. You're meeting and you're with day to day with plenty of entrepreneurs. What do they need in terms of environment, in terms of initiatives, of training? What do you think? How can we, I mean, we general ecosystem help them being more successful?
So at Le Camping, what we try to create is an environment where they just have to focus on the execution. So they don't have to take care of the lawyers, the accountants, the space. This is the basic things that any incubator or accelerator might give. But it's also an environment where they will be on the good way for the startups. Because every time they do a move, they check with an experienced guy if this move is okay. They check and they have the best advice. Like, have you been to your customer to ask if they would like to have it like that? And all this kind of advice are offered here in this environment. And also what is very important, I think, for them is to be with other startups that are going through the same hardcore trouble to grow up. You know, for instance, their neighbor at Le Camping are other startup, and they can just say, hey, did you receive some CV from a guy who could code in HTML or I don't know? So they are all, they are in a community, so they help each other, and it's very important to create the space and time so that they can exchange. And what is also very important is to give them the same focus. So we use this ingredient, you know, we cook it the way the other accelerator cook it. Like you take good people who have competencies, who are super nice hacker, really good doers and everything, and you give them the business the business good advice so that they can go on the good way, and they just have to prototype, iterate, and present it.
Amaury?
Yes, as an incubator, what we do is host, coach, and animate. I mean, doing some events and hopefully having more of those like today. But we try to do it with a few twists, building on our school. So it's humanism, a few values. A lot of NGOs came out of here, and so I've told about Jean-Baptiste Say and other things. About Europe, I mean, France, we've talked about in the first panel about the size of the French market, and obviously Europe is a bigger one. But for that, you need what best is it to? Then I mean, probably the best is probably you have to an European team. So here, about more than 50% of the students are from other countries. Then another one is to be, I would say, serendipitous in our approach. We don't believe we know everything, so we're trying to build things, discard them if they don't work, build some others. So very much like the prototyping approach that Alice was describing, and probably some other things as well. But
okay, and ESCP Europe is a European school. You have several campuses. Do you have incubators in your other countries, like in Berlin or Madrid or London?
As a matter of fact, no. We are building it right now as we speak because we wanted to build a base in Paris. I mean, Paris campus is by far the largest one in Europe. So we're building something in other countries. So it's too early to say to be more specific about it. But we're building it. What we have already right here is all the students with the exchanges, and we've got 35,000 alumni around the world. So we've got already international here, but we're trying to build those links with other campuses for the incubator. But we have, as I say, our first mission is to educate people, and during the education, they go across countries, and so they build teams from people from other countries. They go back, etc.
But it would be awesome to have a European incubator allowing startups to spend 3 months in Madrid, 3 months in Berlin, 3 months in Paris. I mean, it will be a good opportunity to have strong European startups. It's just my point of view. Pierre-Olivier, just before asking you a question, I have to disclose your Salesforce is a sponsor of this event, in case you didn't check it. But it's the start of my question, because Salesforce is doing a lot with startups in the Valley, and we're very happy that you start joining us as entrepreneur startup ecosystem here and sponsor and perhaps do more things in the future. So my question is, how will you help French startups?
There are 3 areas where we can really help startups. The first one is CRM. I will be back on it after. It's also enterprise social network. You can create as a startup. We've got a new product for the last 8 months named Chatter, and you really share ideas and with the natural feed that you've got in Facebook, your ideas securely in your startup around your development, marketing, and sales department. And also the platforms, and to develop your application directly on our platform, and to develop it very quickly without any investment, because there is no hardware or software, and it's no software company, so you can develop and deploy your application without any investment, and to be on our app exchange, our marketplace of application developed. So if you develop a good process in our application platform, it could be automatically available for everywhere over the world. So it's really cool when you develop an application. Immediately you've got the international level of visibility of your application. To be back on CRM, it's to know in the room who knows CRM, not a lot, who a class where you have been student or student today on CRM for more than 6 months? No one. So we are at École Supérieure de Commerce, and so all the university in the US got CRM class with Salesforce or other competitors. So it's really strategic. When you've got a company in France or a startup, you've got a good idea. We are in France, we've got good ideas. But we imagine that people will buy your ideas. But in the US, people got some ideas, maybe not so good, but they will sell it. It's really the difference. They will sell it anyway because they invest in marketing. As Gilles said before, there's not a lot of investment in France on marketing when you make your startup, when you make your business plan, and nothing regarding selling your product. So it's really key for us. And when you check our customers in the US in the Valley, as you said, we've got companies like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, who from the beginning used our CRM solution to sell their products.
So they structure the sale process really from the start, from the founder actually. The first user is often the founder itself, right? Because he's starting sales.
Yeah, he's starting sales for Oracle for 13 years. And so he really applied in this company when he started at 3 from the beginning to start the vision on how to sell it to enterprise.
Okay, I made a wish for ESCP. I allow myself to make a wish for Salesforce. Perhaps in the next few years, you will not only provide tools or platforms, but you will invest or buy French startups. You don't have to answer on that point, but it's only my wish.
We bought a French startup. In fact, Instranet, we bought in 2008 a French startup. So Instranet is based of our knowledge solution, and it was built in 2000 by Alex Daillon, a former founder of Business Object, and we bought it in 2008. So we buy every 2-3 months a new company, generally a small one. We bought Radiant 6.
It's not a French startup, yeah.
Not but Dim in India, so Instranet in France. So many different startups we bought around the world. Okay.
Thibaut, I will let you react to what this guy have said. Do you think they understood what entrepreneurs need, or what you needed?
Yeah, I guess what is really interesting, if I compare to what Alice said, that one thing that is really important for entrepreneurs, and that really is a differentiation, is who, because everybody needs help, but who teaches you? Is this teachers or all entrepreneurs, or is it entrepreneurs that are sharing the same life that you are actually living? And this is what is really interesting in, I guess, Le Camping, because in Le Camping, the people who help the entrepreneurs are people who are doing the same stuff, and so they can really help in their world, and they provide advices that are really day one relevant for them, and this is really interesting. And plus, it's really important that when you are an entrepreneur, that you get taught by another entrepreneur. And this is why, like, if I take my example, on our board, so we wanted with Arnaud, my associate, to have an entrepreneur helping us on our board, and who had a real experience of the B2C world. And so he's here, it's Rodrigo, hello. And he's really helping us, really, because he's gone through that, and it is really important. And he's gone through that not like 20 years ago, he's gone through that a few years ago. So he's really into it, he has got good contacts, good advices, it's really important. And every day I learn new things, and the guy who make me learn new things are the entrepreneurs.
A general question, what about schools? We wanted to have someone from EMI, this new internet school in Paris. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to have someone. How do you... I mean, we have to do something with our young students, and because as we all know, it's very often that these young students and young entrepreneurs will have some kind of stock and will discover something. So what do you think, and perhaps Amaury, you will answer after the other because you're part of a business school. Alice?
I did a business school. I was at EM Lyon. And actually, it's a school that is really focused on the entrepreneurship. And at the end of my school, I had no idea what it takes to be an entrepreneur. I'm sorry for the school, but we need people who are passionate, who would come and tell their story, you know. Just this, it's simple, and to have this kind of people coming, talk, explain you about their, how they make sense, because it's all about that. They are leading their own life, and for me, this kind of speeches should be in English also. I mean, if we are talking about schools, we talk about also the way we teach from the early stage, from the very young people. We should speak English all the time, better than we are doing, and having international entrepreneurs and not only French entrepreneurs.
It's a very good question because there are just so many things you have to learn when you're at a business school or at any higher education institution. And what is good is that entrepreneurship is across the board a subject that you have to learn. It's not like finance or marketing, etc. So it's kind of synthesis, and it's difficult to blend and find your way within a business school where all people are in verticals. So this is one of the issue. The probably a second one is referring to what he said before. It's not about only teachers teaching, it's about also entrepreneurs doing it. So we've got this Club des 100, so it's 100 successful entrepreneurs that graduate from the school in any field. So it could be Michel and Augustin in the food sector, it could be Marc Reb in the one of the co-founders of Yadeo. They come and they make themselves available for any request, giving advices, ideas, and contacts. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do both on the teaching per se and coaching or mentoring part.
Okay, let's see my question at something perhaps wider. Not only do we need entrepreneurs, but we need students that want to join startups. That's the point of EMI. People that perhaps don't want to be an entrepreneur right now, but have kind of an entrepreneurship spirit to join early stage startups. Perhaps Thibault will share your HR problems or opportunities. But and that's first way of opening this question. And also, we don't have to talk only about business schools. What about high schools? Can we do something there? What's your point on that, perhaps? Or Alice, you want to...
There are initiatives like the 100,000 entrepreneurs that go to high schools and everything. So there are a lot of initiatives already there. What we not, let's face it, as a high-end business school, probably the first or second, whatever, it's not a lot of people create companies when they came out of here. We've got like a bunch of 30 startups every year created. So it's not a lot, and it's not going to change dramatically over the next few years. And we don't want to change this. What we want is, like you said, having people with entrepreneurship spirit, because we've got companies coming to us like Danone and Nestle and L'Oréal and all the others asking for those entrepreneurs to develop new countries, new products, change the organization, everything. So this is what we believe in.
Just to add something, we try to do this at Le Camping to show the face of our entrepreneurs, because they are young, they are the next generation of the entrepreneurs, they are what we call the Y generation. You know, it's a way to say that they make it happen, and they want to make sense, they want to lead their own life, I would say. So, we should just as we try to gather to do events at Le Camping, like we did last Saturday, this Open Geek fashion show, and ZIF is one of our startups, are not only geek coding all the time. They are also rock stars. They play rock and roll. So they did a concert and it was really cool. I mean, it's also the face we want to show. You know, we have a very good mentor. His name is Casper. He is in Podio. You know Podio, very good Danish startups. They show us the way, like they opened just a Podio store, like an Apple store in San Francisco, and they did a big concert. I mean, it takes all of this. It's not only about, it's hard to be an entrepreneur. It's only topic. No, it's also this social life to show this face. It's also being really cool, being in a big community and everything. So that's why we are trying to open the doors of Le Camping once a month.
Cool. Thibaut?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people wanting to join startups right now, because this is what Ali said. A lot of students right now just don't want a job just for their living. They want a job that makes sense, and ideally, a lot of them want to build a startup. And what's best than joining a startup to know how to what it feels and what are the processes that works. And because like in all my apps, we've got 2 rooms, so we share a lot, and everybody sees what is happening, and so it's a very good way for people to get to know how does a startup work. And it's not really difficult to hire in a startup. The thing is, you should not force anybody to join a startup. So if you've got a very high class guy that you want to hire and is not ready to accept the fact that he's in a startup, it's better not hire him. I prefer a very junior profile that are really pushing to get on board, and because this is what this motivation is what keeps us working hard in the company. And then as a CEO, you have to make sure that every people is enjoying their job. And this is the difference with another company, is that you've got a lot of responsibilities. Every action you take has direct reaction. And you have to keep this great mood in the company, and this is the dream job. This is why a lot of people are wanting to join startup right now. It's not a huge problem, I guess. Then the real problem is choosing the best ones to hire.
Pierre-Olivier, do you want to react?
Yes, I think also the main difference with the US is here in France, there is no incubators directly in the business school or the high school, where in the US, in some university, you've got directly an incubator for the students to help them to start a company at the beginning. One of the main examples of to start a startup from the university, there is a movie, it's the biggest story of the web actually, it's Facebook. He started from the university, and okay, it could stop, but he started from it. So, and there is many stories, many IT startups in the US who started their apps from the university. They made their studies.
As a matter of fact, it's not true. I'm sorry. Can the people from the incubator stand up here, and the other ones that
Cool.
were this morning, and they live right next door in the next building.
Perfect.
So over there, I'm starting here. Can we just stand up, please? So we see you, Arnaud.
Yes, stand up.
Okay, please stand up. Okay. Some more. For the other ones. Okay. So, I mean, the building is right next door. So
It's quite rare, actually.
thank you.
But it's cool.
Okay, I forgot what I wanted to ask. Before asking, taking a question from the audience, I have one tough question. It was kind of a debate within the Tech Conference team. Do you think we have to tell entrepreneurs they can build the next Google or Facebook out of Paris, or we have to be realists and ask them to focus on business cases or products that will leverage specificities out of France or Europe? I think, okay, let's. I will. I don't know the expression, but anyway, I think we can't have the next Google out of Paris. We don't have the ecosystem that is in Silicon Valley, but we can build really strong and successful startups using what we have here. Big brands in fast-moving consumer goods. we can leverage food, fashion, whatever we want. So please tell me I'm wrong.
So you're telling me that I started all my apps in the wrong place? Because no, I guess it depends. If you're B2B, maybe that may be the case. But when you're B2C, actually we're named All My Apps. A lot of people don't know that we're French, and more than a third of our user base is coming from the US, and they have no clue we're French. So I'm not sure it's a drawback to start in France. And what is really cool is that I see a lot of entrepreneurs now starting to build companies and immediately thinking, I want to be worldwide. And then they ask them the question, how can I be worldwide? But from the very beginning, they start with this mindset. And it really changes from what was a few years ago. And no, I guess the other panel told it right. There's a lot of assets in France. We've got very good engineers, very motivated. There is not a lot of drawbacks being in France. The only thing is the media part. It's hard to get visibility outside, especially in the US, if you're not in the US, because. But you guys, this is why TechCrunch is here. So.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Other reactions to that, Alice, perhaps?
I totally agree with what he said. I mean, we don't put any barriers. That's why we go for international from the beginning. There is one mentor here. It's John Lewis, I think. He's here. He was the first to give a speech at the beginning, and it's exactly what he was saying. Like, now, just put your ambition there. Okay, and you don't have barrier. You are a startup. You're on the web. You're talking to everybody. So this is true for the B2C, and for the B2B, it might be another story. Also, that's true. And we really encourage our startup to travel. Also, I mean, they are settled here. Some of them might go to the US. I mean, if it's the way it has to be, then it's the way it has to be. But our goal is also to select this pépite, how we say pépite?
Gems.
Yeah, gems who are here and help them to grow. And if they have to go abroad, then they have to go abroad. But we definitely think that they can start the story here. I'm thinking of .cloud. You know .cloud? Yeah, they were French. They were in an incubator in Paris. I think they were in Adventia. Something like that. Anyway, they've been to Y Combinator, right? And they raise 10 million. And we invite them at Le Camping. We wanted them to tell their story to our young guy. And I think that if another camping would have existed at that time, they definitely would have applied there. And what they wanted when they've been to Y Combinator was to be in this environment, in this dynamic environment, to be in the community, to speak with people who would understand what they were doing, cloud computing. And but they wouldn't have raised 10 million, but that's another story. Okay.
No reaction.
I mean, one more. It depends about. I mean, if you're speaking about where to start. I mean, physically the company, or with it the nationality of the founder, etc. I mean, a lot of people forget about the nationality of the founder of eBay, for example, and there are a lot more other examples like this. I mean, like the world is a small place. You could start. You could have your engineering research and department here, and you can have your sales in the UK or in the US. And I mean, this is the way it is. And so why not?
It shows that it's a question of mindset, as you said, and also it's important to create a network in the valley and to be back sometime in San Francisco and to see some entrepreneurs over there to inspire you and also to give them back some ideas that you've got and to be known on this ecosystem in the US, where by only 10 or 15 people in the valley you can really build a solid visibility and also some visibilities to investors that if you got a good idea, they are really quick to invest in your company.
All right, let's open it to question from Micah or from the audience when I'm reading it. Do you guys have any question? Oh, yep, Mike.
There are various startup programs around Europe. Hack4 have emerged recently.
I think someone from Hack4 is in the room, right?
Yeah, Hack4, Seed Camp, Le Camping. Seed Camp takes between something like 8 to 10% of a company for €50,000. Hack4 has a slightly odder model, which is what was it? A year worth of funding. I can't remember the level. Does anybody remember? Anyway, what's Le Camping's model in that respect? Thank you. Oh, Mike Butcher from TechCrunch.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we are slightly different. Actually, we don't take any equity in the startups. We started Le Camping as a non-profit, and what we wanted is to gather this ingredient. So the seed money, the bunch of mentors, this time frame, the space, and the prototyping phase and everything. But we didn't raise the funds, and we didn't want to tell this story. So we just did the deal with big companies. Like we gathered Google, SNCF, BNP, GL Events, L'Atelier, and also some public money from Région Île-de-France. And they gave us a budget so that we can give this money and redistribute it to the startups and to pay the whole thing. And at the end, if you take the ratio, our budget divided by the number of startup, it takes 20K. So one startup costs us 20K, right? It's exactly the same average for any other incubator. But the main difference is the way we do it, the way we cook it. So the business model, it's for the moment, it's this mixture between public and private partners giving money, and we redistribute it because they trust us. And yeah.
Sorry. What do the sponsors get out of it then? There's promotion amongst the startups.
Okay, so there is just first what they want is to know more about the startups because they just don't know anything about the startups. So there are many different interests. If I take, for instance, SNCF, okay, SNCF is the biggest transportation corporation. I mean, we have the chance to work with Régine Combremont, who created La Fabrique Digitale, okay, and she wants to try to spread this new culture in her big old corporation, right? So she just want to be here to know more about this little guy. What is the way? I mean, they are the next generation, and they just want to mix their people with this guy. So what we do, it's like we did a speed dating with people from SNCF and our guy, and it's a big opportunity for them, maybe to do some deal with them. Another one would be with Google. Why Google is interested? Because Google, they want to be involved in the startup scene by creating content for all the startup people, right? So they want us to cast some part of our mentor session so that we can put it on the YouTube channel and share it with everybody. And it's exactly the same way we want it to be. So we have common things that, they just find their benefits in the camping.
Quick question from Micah, while you have the mic. Can you share or disclose how much money was raised after Investors Day?
Okay, so it might be not like in the US, like, oh yeah, I like it, this is my check. So it takes more time for them, I think, and in our environment to raise funds. So I just don't fake anything. I don't have something to tell you like, yeah, this guy has raised funds. For the moment, they are all working on their networks and they are meeting different investors. So
they have term sheets, but no closed deal right now.
Exactly. So now they are working on it. So I think we will see what happens in like the next 3 months to see if some really get the money.
Okay, we will look at it, and please give the exclusivity to Tech Conference.
Okay.
Of course. A quick question for you, Thibaut. Do you give shares to your employees or stock options?
Not yet. not yet, because at the very beginning, we're still in France. Shares has only a value if you can resell it, and I think it's not fair to give shares to just only shares to motivate people at the very beginning. We will distribute shares now to our employees according to their age in the company. But at the very beginning of the company, I don't think it's fair from the founder to give shares. I prefer giving a good salary.
Okay. Other question from the room? Yep, one over there.
Hello, Gabriel Bipsley, co-founder at Bipsley. My question is on incubators and when is it too late for a startup to join an incubator? Because it actually takes a lot of time to apply to all these different programs, and then you're 3 months in and you spend all that time not working on your product. And then there's this new Springboard, Seed Camp, whatever, mini camp, and it's 4 months in. And then you kind of think, yeah, too late now. So what's your take on an incubator, not a school incubator, and when it's too late to join it?
Yep. And perhaps Amaury will answer, but please.
Slow.
Yeah, very quick. Slow now, but very quick. Sorry.
So, no, we want early stage startups. So we have had for this first station different kind of stage. Actually, we had people who were already incorporated. Who I think about Kawet has already a very tangible and concrete, more than a prototype, product. And we also had people who just had the idea. So it's in between these two kind of stage, but before having raised money.
So not talking about ours, talking about the others. I mean, I see personally the Startup Weekend and all the others, initiatives like this, like being incubators. I mean, over the weekend you can almost create your own company. I mean, obviously that's a promise, and probably not a lot of people do this, but they do this after a few days, weeks, a month afterwards. So this is incubators, and you can go there even without an idea, without a team, without anything, just with your energy and openness, and that's it.
Last question. I saw some tweets about coffee break very soon. Yeah, you go. You're guilty. No other question. I saw some. Yep. Last one. And I saw some question about Le Camping. Please go to Alice during the break to ask your question directly.
Just a question. What do you think about initiative like Startup Weekend, which allow any people to go into an incubator for only 1 weekend? I mean, there is. You talk a lot about the initiative, the link, the bridge between business schools and incubators. What about Startup Weekend? Is it important in France? Is it one of the secret recipes in France? The winner of the web was from Startup Weekend. What do you think about Startup Weekend?
The last one was here. The previous one was at HEC, and then another one was at Telecom Paris. So actually, the link between business school and Startup Weekend has been done. That's for sure. And a lot of people. I mean, this morning we had like 7 teams pitching for being part of the next class of the incubator, and a few of them told us that they actually met some of the partners, if not all of them partners, during Mashable, Startup Weekend, and Mashup, Startup Weekend, etc. So this is a great place to find partners, and especially when you don't have engineers among your friends, or you don't have salespeople among your friends, that's the place to go.
I loved your intervention, and just something. Startup Weekend is in France is the second initiative in the world. There is in US and France. So there is just next Startup Weekend in Bordeaux, in Marseille, another one in Paris soon.
And thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for Startup Weekend. Okay, guys.
This guy is a camper. We teach them to be really aggressive. You know?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not aggressive.
Okay. Let's end it here. Thank you very much for what you've shared with us. Please.